Good morning, my name is Jeff and I'm an MST3K-aholic. I've got a problem, and my problem goes well beyond just watching the show. I become obsessed with wanting to know about the film itself. Who made the film? Why they made the film? Why does the film exist? I just don't want to know, I have to know! So today I'm going to talk about a film that was first shown on Mystery Science Theater 3000 on September 29th, 1990. It's a 1969 film called The Sidehackers, starring Ross Hagen, Diane McBain, Michael Pataki, Robert Tessier, and others. This was the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode in which Joel, Crow, and Tom sing a song about side hacking. Joel on vocals and rhythm guitar, Tom on drums, and Crow playing a mean lead guitar. Hard riders mounted on burning steel, with only their leather between them and hell. Filmed in new widescreen Fantascope, you are pulled into the action, tasting the dust, smelling the sweat, and feeling the danger. I'm not sure I want to taste the dust or smell the sweat, but hey, that's just me. I'm weird that way. Anyway, for those new to the show, while I'm talking about a film that was shown on Mystery Science Theater 3000, I'm more talking about the film itself and not so much about Joel and the bots, though there'll be a little of that in this episode. Now, before we get started, I like to get a few bits of trivia out of the way, trivia that you might have heard before. There's the now famous story in which the MST3K crew only watched about 20 minutes of the film before deciding to put it on the show. However, as they started to write the episode, they realized that in the middle of the film there was a horrible rape and murder scene. They were horrified, but since it was already on the schedule, they had to use it, so they just cut that scene out. Crow covered for the missing scene during the episode by saying this.
For those of you playing along at home, Rita is dead.
And then there's Goldie Hawn. She's in the movie. I think she's in a crowd scene and you just see her from behind, but she's there. You see, the director of the film, Gus Trikonis, was married to Goldie at the time. It was later that year where she starred in Cactus Flower and received the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress and became a big star. And I think that might have been the start of the end of that marriage. Anyway, the first thing you might notice while watching this film was after the first 20 minutes, the sport of side hacking is forgotten and it becomes a revenge movie. The original title for the film was 5 the Hard Way. It was changed by the distributor to Sidehackers before it was released. And if you ask me, neither name is all that great. The film was produced by its star, Ross Hagen, and this won't be the last time we talk about Russ on this show. Now, after finishing The Hellcats, he worked on a short film called The Wonderful World of Stunts. The director of that short was Gus Trikonis and the cinematographer John Hall. I couldn't find anything about this short film, but after it was done, John Hall said to Hagen, "I've got all this equipment, why don't you write a script?" Now, Eric Court, who was the stunt coordinator, told Hagen about this new sport of side hacking. Yes, it was a real thing, or maybe still is. They went out to watch some side hacking, and Ross wanted to make it into a film. And that's one of the problems with this film, right? Because it's not about side hacking. But we'll get into more of that a bit later. Like I said, the director of the film was Gus Trikonis, who was born on November 21st, 1937, and I believe is still alive today. This was his first time as a director. He had been an actor, appearing in films like West Side Story in '63, The Unsinkable Molly Brown in '64, and The Sand Pebbles in '67. He was also in the 1968 outlaw biker film The Hellcats as Scorpio, and of course Ross Hagen was in that film as well. Hellcats was his last film as an actor before he moved behind the camera. He directed such classic films as Supercock and The Swinging Barmaids from '75, The Evil from '78, and Take This Job and Shove It from '83. He also directed a ton of television. The star of the film, of course, was the one and only Ross Hagen. Ross was born to Leland Lando Lilly and lived from 1938 to 2011. Yes, that was his real name, Leland Lando Lilly, and one can only imagine what his parents were thinking when they gave him that name. Maybe it was a boy named Sue type thing, I don't know. I could do a whole episode on Ross, and I just might in the future. He started out as a TV actor, but is more famous for a string of low-budget films, such as The Miniskirt Mob and The Hellcats from 1968, Angel's Wild Women from 72, Wonder Woman from 73, and Supercock from 1975. You got to give it to Mr. Hagen because he was always working, all the way up to 2009 when he appeared in a film called Shadowheart. Diane McBain played the girlfriend Rita. Diane lived from 1941 to 2022. She began her career as a teenage model and then started off her film career as a Warner Brothers contract player, appearing in such films as Ice Palace in '60 and Thunder Alley in 1967. Mostly, however, she did a lot of TV, including being a regular on Surfside 6 and appearing in other TV shows like 77 Sunset Strip, The Wild Wild West, Batman, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and many more. The evil JC is played by Michael Pataki. Michael lived from 1938 to 2010. He started out mainly as a television actor. Along with many appearances on various shows, he was a semi-regular on the groundbreaking ABC TV series Get Christy Love. The Sidehackers was one of his first films with a major role, but he also appeared in many films over his career. He was also a voice actor, providing voices to shows like Mighty Mouse, The New Adventures, and The Ren and Stimpy Show. Robert Tessier plays Jake. Robert lived from 1938 to 1990. If you don't know Robert, you may recognize his face from when he didn't have any hair. Yes, he often played the bad guy. Apparently, he was a motorcycle rider who did stunts in a circus, and that led to a part in the Billy Jack film The Born Losers. That was the year before this one. Some of his other films were The Longest Yard from '74, The Deep from '77, Cannonball Run from '81, Future Force from '89, and a ton of television. And lastly, there's Claire Pollan. Claire lived from 1937 to 2003. She changed her name soon after this film to Claire Hagen, as she married the film star Ross Hagen. She basically appeared in just a handful of B films. Rumor has it that Goldie wanted her role as Paisley. Unfortunately, Goldie was only married to the director, while Claire was married to the producer and star of the film. And actually, I have no idea if that's the reason why she didn't get the part, but hey, it's fun to guess. Now, before we get into the plot, I want to apologize for the copy of the film I used. It's from archive.org, and it has this "for screening purposes only" tag across the whole film. It was the only complete version of the film I could find anywhere, so I'm going to make do with what I got. I hope you don't mind. So what is Sidehackers? After we watch some thrilling side-hacking action during the credits, a sport that'll soon be the next big thing I'm sure, we get a little romance between Rommel and his lady Rita, with the Sidehackers love theme playing along to make us all feel warm and fuzzy. Later, at Rommel and Luke's motorbike repair shop, JC and his gang arrived, including a beautiful woman named Paisley. JC has a bike he wants repaired. Now, a few things happen at this time. Paisley seems to have a thing for Rommel.
You sure don't have much to say, do you?
Nope. You trying to say something?
No.
And JC treats a fellow named Nero very badly.
You told me 2 weeks, Nero. What are you, an idiot or something? Huh?
JC also notices the side-hacking bike, and he's intrigued.
This side hack thing I will see.
Me too.
So he and his friends go to a race.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Well, play it up. The play is out.
Now, as exciting as this race is, don't get too invested in it, as the side hacking, as strange as it sounds, really isn't part of the Sidehackers film. In fact, after this scene, there's no more side hacking. After a few comic moments of JC trying to learn the sport, he attempts to talk Rommel into joining his gang. JC seems to think they could make a lot of money on the circuit, whatever that is. But Rommel wants to get married to Rita and have a nice, quiet life. This is not what JC wants to hear.
No one's alone when they're with JC.
JC, I need to ask you something.
What are you bugging me for?
Now JC and his girlfriend Paisley, well, they could use a little couples therapy.
Now scream.
Help.
And if you haven't got it by now, JC is not a nice guy. Paisley tries to seduce Rommel, but Rommel isn't having any of it, and this makes Paisley sad.
Look, Paisley, you go on home and grow up. You know, that's the nice thing about a little girl. If they're lucky, they can grow up to be women.
You bastard. I'm more of a woman than you'll ever know, you son of a bitch.
So while Rommel and Rita are having a romantic evening, jealousy gets the best of Paisley and she tricks JC into thinking that she had been molested by Rommel. Rommel is beaten, and that leads to the cutscene from Mystery Science Theater 3000 in which Rita is raped and murdered, and I think I'll cut it as well. Though actually there's no nudity in the scene and her death is accidental, but I think it's best to move on. As Rommel takes a long walk, thinking about what has just happened, we listen to, again, the Sidehackers love theme.
Of all the dreams you treasure, only love.
So JC hides out, and Rommel begins recruiting men to get his revenge. He sells his possessions to hire people like Big Jake. He also gets Nero on his side. Hey employers, let that be a lesson to you. This is what happens when you don't treat your employees right. JC learns of this and begins to prepare by sending one of his henchmen to act as a spy. He pretends to switch sides. Later, Paisley lets her disgust towards JC be known to JC.
I don't know who I despise more, you or myself. More hate than love we're making.
And in my opinion, that was not a good move. So we wind up with another victim. Now to make a long story short, Rommel's men learn of the double cross, a huge fight ensues, everyone but JC and Rommel are killed, and there's a big showdown.
What are we gonna do now, lover? It's the end of the line.
The police are on their way, but can they get there before there's more bloodshed? No, they can't. And this leads to another version of the Sidehackers love theme.
Tomorrow was so far away, a storybook scene with songs to be sung, and life was just for today.
Now I know my plot synopsis was a little short, but frankly not a lot happens in this movie. There's certainly a lack of side hacking, that's for sure. So the title Sidehackers seems a bit of false advertising, don't you think? And the name Five the Hard Way, the original title, what does that mean? What does that have to do with this movie at all? I'm confused. Neither one was a very good title. Anyway, if you listen to the opening theme of the song, it is a song called Five the Hard Way. It was done by a band called The New Life, who were a psychedelic West Coast rock band. In fact, I think they did all the music to the movie. Now, you may have noticed that this film was shot in something called Fantascope. Now, according to Ross Hagen, cinematographer John Hall invented a new type of lens that created a large depth of field. They could keep things in the foreground and the background in focus at the same time, and they wanted a fancy name for it, so they called it Fantascope. And here's another thing. There was a John Hall who acted in films from the 1940s through the 1960s. And some websites say the cinematographer on this film was the same guy who was an actor back in the day. Others separate him as two different people, so I don't know what's what. Maybe you know. Who was John Hall? So the original film was 1 hour and 22 minutes, and the MST3K version clocks in at about 1 hour and 15 minutes. So about 7 minutes were cut. Of course, there's the famous cutscene, and that was about 4.5 minutes, so a few other little bits were probably taken out here and there for time, and frankly it doesn't matter because I don't think it adds anything to the film. So now why don't we watch a few minutes of the best of Mystery Science Theater 3000's episode of the Sidehackers.
This is gonna be hard to watch.
You know, now that sidehacking's so big, it's really interesting to see its humble origins.
They look like they're filming a Star Trek episode.
Help me, Kirk! Help me! I am Tirok.
I didn't get your name.
Rommel.
Oh, you magnificent son of a bitch, I read your book.
Good one, Cambot. Nice effect.
Say, hurl him on the ground and do-si-do and make him sing like a soprano. Side hack. Yeah.
I even like Gallagher for crying
Then why
out
do you
loud.
back off when I try to get close to you?
There's a ladder in the way.
Back off.
You know, I can't get to you.
There's a ladder in the way.
Mom, Dad, I don't want to be a grown-up side hacker anymore. I can talk to you, Mr. Tree.
Yeah, I will.
I will do it.
But it's gotta look right.
I will.
Let him know where I'm hiding. I will.
I will do it.
Make him think.
There was nothing left of the world after the robot holocaust.
I know a wiener man, he owns a hot dog stand. He gives me everything from me. Key change failed.
Slow, 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 plod.
Hey, nice sweater. Slow, slow, plod.
I'll just walk under the cover of this air here.
Soylent Green is made from people.
Hey, what's been going on ever since you and I said, oh!
Oh, why didn't I get out of his way?
I always did love you.
So, I guess there's not going to be any more side hacking, huh?
I don't think so.
Sidehacking on a coffin, maybe.
So next week, we're going to travel back into the world of Robert L. Lippert with the 1948 action-adventure film, The Jungle Goddess. This is a problematic film starring George Reeves, Ralph Byrd, and Wanda McKay. And by the way, if you're interested in Wanda McKay at all, I did a biography of her a little while back, and it's on the site somewhere. It's some interesting stuff there. Anyway, I think this episode's a little short today, but that's all I got. So I'll move on and let you have more of your day back. So I appreciate everybody who watches. I sincerely do. I mean, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy researching stuff, and the fact that other people like to watch it just thrills the hell out of me. So thank you very much. I won't waste any more of your time, but feel free to drop by anytime and have a sandwich or a donut or a cookie or something. I don't know. Whatever you want to do.